Now, as mentioned in the recent message from Prime Minister Ishiba, U.S.-Japan cooperation is critical for the security and stability of Indo-Pacific and beyond. I am honored to introduce our next speaker, Lieutenant General Stephen Jost, who has recently stepped into his role as Commander of U.S.-Japan Forces and 5th Air Force.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to the U.S.-Japan Council leaders and staff for the opportunity to address you this morning. On behalf of Admiral Samuel Papara, the Commander of Indo-Pacific Command, about bilateral security issues, some of the initiatives that we and USFJ are working to address those issues, and to reiterate the importance of the U.S.-Japan alliance. It is not often enough that we are able to gather so many influential leaders in one place to discuss interest in common goals and how we are working together towards achieving them. Today's discussions are yet another important step to further strengthening the important relationships among the many security stakeholders represented here today. I arrived at Misawa Air Force Base on my first tour in Japan in the summer of 2011, soon after the conclusion of Operation Tomodachi and the execution of a tremendous bilateral and multilateral response to the Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. It was then that I first fully grasped both the magnitude of the devastation, but also the power of the U.S.-Japan alliance that helped press through the tragedy to become even stronger than it was before. Now, over 13 years later, upon my return, it is safe to say that the United States-Japan alliance has continued to grow even stronger every day in both the good times and the bad. I believe that it is well set to weather any storms yet to come. It is my duty as the new United States Forces Japan Commander to ensure that that statement holds true. Since my assumption of command just over 3 weeks ago on the 8th of October, I have affirmed in just a few short weeks with senior officials in both the United States and Japan that the two countries are experiencing the same increasingly dangerous security environment regionally and globally, due to the unfortunate behaviors of some states that are acting contrary to a world order that has benefited so many people around the world while maintaining the great power peace for nearly 8 decades. Regrettably, Russia's ongoing aggression in Ukraine illustrates the most stark example of the dangers to the international order posed by unilateral attempts to change the status quo by force. Likewise, the People's Republic of China consistently attempts to challenge the status quo with ever-increasing coercive activities in the East and South China Seas. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea further contributes to the degradation of the rules-based international order through its continuing ballistic missile tests in violation of multiple UN Security Council resolutions and which threaten Japan, the region, and the world. And as of this morning, just after 7 o'clock, we have a stark example of the latest missile shot. Recent DPRK transfers of munitions and deployment of troops to the Russia's war against Ukraine is also of significant concern. These provocative actions, and so many more, aim to undermine the laws and principles that safeguard peace and prosperity for so many. Additionally, the growing strategic alignment between China and Russia and North Korea, further underscores the increasing global geopolitical complexities. In the face of these security challenges, it is imperative that the United States and Japan continue with steady hands and firm resolve to strengthen and reinforce our alliance and to further expand our multilateral partnerships like never before. Forging deep interoperability between United States-Japan forces, increasing our individual and collective readiness for crisis and contingency operations, and improving our command and control relationships and structures are just some of the principal ways we can fortify our alliance to help deter and, if necessary, defeat threats against Japan. These priority efforts have my full attention and support as the USFJ Commander. The United States and Japan have already taken many other steps in the right direction. the publication of Japan's National Security Strategy and National Defense Strategy in December 2022, and Governor Chan calls for increased defense spending, marked a historic shift in Japanese defense policy driven by the before-mentioned security challenges we now face. The United States and Japan have also boosted their participation in joint, bilateral, and increasingly multilateral exercises such as Keen Sword, Keen Edge, Pacific Sentry, and humanitarian assistance and disaster response exercises. We will conclude the most robust Keen Sword exercise just this week, and I want to publicly thank the Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and Japanese Joint Staff senior officials and staff supporting the exercise objectives to the fullest. These Japan defense exercises have rightly increased in size, scope, and complexity, with increasing access to important areas of Japan such as multi-use airfields and the Southwest Islands. Our bilateral fighting forces have subsequently learned much together and gained significant operational readiness. Such readiness is the foundation of deterrence, and I'm confident future exercises will only grow to become more relevant and more valuable for the United States and Japan, as well as our multinational partners across the region and beyond. Another example of increased strengthening of the alliance can be seen in the recent stand-up and ongoing efforts to build out the Bilateral Information and Analysis Cell, the Japanese efforts to rapidly stand up the Japan Self-Defense Force Joint Operations Center, and our efforts in USFJ commitment to transform our headquarters and respective command and control frameworks to enable better operational outcomes at the anticipated speed of future crisis and contingency operations. Regarding United States Forces Japan command and control changes, my headquarters is urgently, yet deliberately, moving out to implement the monumental changes announced by United States and Japan senior officials following the 2+2 dialogue this past summer. United States Forces Japan headquarters has historically served primarily in an alliance management role since its inception. We intend to continue in this area of primary responsibility unabated, but we will grow and evolve over the next 2 years to take on further roles and responsibilities that will better serve the United States-Japan alliance while meeting the demands of the evolving security environment. The transformation of USFJ into an operational headquarters will parallel the efforts by Japan to stand up their Japan Self-Defense Force Joint Operations Command next spring. As we do so, I will strive to optimize United States-Japan coordinated activities within respective policy constraints and attain relevant changes in operational authorities and command relationships. This is the mandate that my Secretary of Defense and the Indo-PACOM Commander have charged me to do, and I will acknowledge here that it is an ambitious undertaking in terms of both task and timing, but I know with a lot of hard work on both the United States and Japan sides, we will succeed in achieving our near, mid, and far-term transformation aims. Again, we absolutely must work closer than we have ever done before, and if successful, I have no doubt that we can take the United States-Japan alliance to unprecedented heights. In closing, the importance of the United States-Japan alliance and the need for deeper cooperation across all influences of power, not just military, in the face of complex regional and global challenges goes without saying. Foundational to our work and the common U.S. and Japan values, foundational to our work are the common U.S. and Japan values and our shared commitment to peace, stability, and the rule of law. Our alliance is the cornerstone of security in the Indo-Pacific region, and it is more important than ever that we work together to deter and, if necessary, defeat threats to our shared interests. It is also clear that the United States and Japan must continuously evolve and adapt to the changing security environment. The transformation of USFJ into a new Joint Force headquarters is just one critical step on that journey, and I am committed to working with my Japanese counterparts to realize that transformation while ensuring that our alliance remains not only strong, but ready, relevant, and agile. Again, I want to thank the United States-Japan Council for the opportunity to speak with you this morning and for your continued tremendous support for the US-Japan alliance. Together, we will build a brighter, more secure future for both our nations, the entire Indo-Pacific region, and the world. Thank you.